Hi there, Rabbi. The new year approaches, and I'm hoping that you have a message for us.
Faith. Joe, we need faith for the coming year because without having faith that things will be better or work out, then we're just going to wallow in our own self-pity, and then we're going to end up watching terrible news. So I'd like to address this idea of faith, since we hear a lot about having faith and we banter it about.
Now, we've had this conversation in the past in different ways, and you always return to the idea that we need proof and evidence in order to have faith. And at the same time, I've always countered with, but isn't faith the lack of proof and evidence? How are you going to reconcile? How do we reconcile that?
I think that's one of the classic mistakes, misconceptions that all of us have. If we're examining a table, a chair, or any of the articles in your study, we can knock on them, pick them up, and touch them because they're material. How do I know you love me? Love is real. Love exists. And it's not material. You could say, well, this is an example of love. It's an example. You could say, this shows that you love me, but we can never examine love itself because it's not material. Faith is not material. We have to use spiritual tools in order to ascertain, our proof and evidence is going to be spiritual proof and evidence. And I'm going to find it in different places. Can't take a hammer to love, you can't take a hammer to faith. So it's silly to try to use the wrong tools to ascertain your faith. Now we're talking about a different realm. Non-material existence exists along with material existence. Freedom, love, hate, honesty, they all exist, not in the same way as tables, chairs, and a mask of someone with a fish on his head.
Well, not to quote Forrest Gump, but I'm going to. I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is. I see examples of love every day in life, in real life. Some call them lust, some call them charity, all different examples of people caring for other people to different degrees. Doesn't that count as a measurement?
Well, now you're using spiritual proof and evidence. You're using charity. Can't take a hammer to charity. You're talking about the way people treat each other. You're talking about being a mensch, being kind, doing the right thing, passing it backward, forward, inside, outside. All of these are non-material measures. We have to look at ourselves and we have to say, are the non-material, the spiritual evidence I'm using for faith reasonable? Is it leading me astray? And is it consistent? If a woman says her husband keeps beating her, but he loves me, there's a disconnect. Can't connect. So that woman is warping her own proof and evidence for love for some other reason. And many people do that for faith. They twist reality, they twist what they see. The best way to use spiritual proof and evidence is what you said. Look out the window, go for a walk, watch how people behave during Christmas, watch how people behave returning the gifts they didn't want at Christmas. There's all kinds of ways we can, and then we can start to catalog and say, just because someone gives flowers doesn't mean they love them. There has to be behind it, because again, we're dealing with a spiritual realm, non-material realm.
Well, I know where my spiritual inspiration comes from, Rabbi. As always, you're there, and I hope we can continue in 2025.
And I have faith based on our track record, Joe, that we will continue because I offer spiritual proof and evidence, and not merely some kind of a blind faith. So I look forward to our coming year.